So something truly amazing happened today when I turned on, and it said 100%. And all it took to make that happen was time and pressure. And I'll tell you how I did that right now. The reason why it was such a bummer to lose that 20% off the top was that's where the max power is, top speed, fun, you know, all the good stuff. Because it's been quite a while since I've been able to get this bike up to 100%. So just a quick recap. About this time last year, bike was about a year old. There's not too many of this version. This is the original road version of the Surron Ultra Bee. And one day I charged it up, and then the following day I went to go for a ride, and it only said 80% charge, and I was like, what? So yeah, up the top you got all that power, and also the big one, right? The range. Everybody knows with electric bikes, the battery capacity equals the range. So if you lose 20% off the top and your battery's only charging to 80%, that means your range is massively impacted. And I showed that in one of my range test videos. And yeah, it did make a difference, you know? Couldn't go as far, which really sucks. Basically, around about the 1 year mark, charged it up, going for a ride, noticed that it only charged up to 80%. What's going on with that? So keep an eye on it for basically the best part of a month, and yeah, this thing is not charging up anymore. Did a couple of videos on that, you can go check those out if you want. But I think, okay, I'm gonna have to take this into the dealership because this is a warranty issue. And I mentioned it in those videos at the time that I'm not a lawyer or anything, but I know enough about consumer law that even if a product is just outside of warranty, it's still considered a warranty issue under consumer law. So you might have to check that out in your state just to see if it's the same, but I was pretty confident about that. So that's where I left the last video. I was like, I'm gonna have to take this in, or I'm gonna have to raise this issue with them and see what happens, and I'll keep you updated. And it's taken a long time, 6 months. So that's why I said time and pressure, because it took 6 months basically, or approximately 6 months, and I had to keep the pressure up and I had to stand my ground because they were really not happy. Well, it didn't seem like it anyway. Better be careful with my words, don't want to get sued or anything. But yeah, so basically I contact them. They're like, it's outside of warranty. I'm like, yeah, nah, it's just outside the 1 year period, and there was 1 year warranty, but with the way consumer law works, I know my rights, and under the consumer law I'm protected with this, and you're gonna have to do something. Nah, push back, you know. And it's like if Surron are gonna sell their bikes through a network of dealers, there is responsibility and accountability that comes with that, right? So okay, yeah, if it had been within the warranty period, within the 1 year, I reckon the dealer and Surron would have just been cool from the start. But they were pushing back, which, you know, they're trying to run a business, they've got profit margins, all that kind of stuff. I get it, you know. But I stood my ground, and I knew it was going to take time, and I was fortunate that I have access to another bike, so I wasn't completely stuffed, but it was a stress. And you know, I wanted to get it resolved, because you want to have a working bike. If you've got an electric bike, you want to have full capacity. You know, it's going to be tough as it is. And then there's the principle of it as well. I paid a lot of money for this. I had to save up, and it's not cheap for what it is. And like I said, there's responsibilities that come with having a dealer network and warranty and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so I just stood my ground and had to jump through a lot of hoops. There was a few tasty comments slung in my direction. Those were on emails that I was copied in on. Probably someone pressed copy all. And yeah, that kind of made me chuckle. Plus, found it a bit offensive at the same time. But anyway, got to roll with the punches. But I was standing my ground, and I was just like, right, I'm just gonna take my time. And if it takes time, it takes time. And it was okay, like for some of the time I had the bike so I could ride it. But there was also part of the time where I didn't have the bike, or a couple of times actually I couldn't ride the bike, because the first time They made me take the battery in without the bike, so I couldn't ride it then, because an electric bike without the battery isn't much good. And then they wanted the whole bike taken in, so then I didn't have the bike at all. So yeah. And the funny thing is, after all that, no tools were used to fix the bike. It was all done apparently by a technician in China. So if you hadn't guessed already or didn't know, I'm in Australia and it's a Chinese bike. And yeah, it was fixed by some dude in China somewhere, hitting a few keys on a keyboard and straightening out those ones and zeros that had got out of line, because it's probably all binary code running this thing. And they did say at one point they would connect to my bike, and I was like, what? Yeah, we can just connect to it at your place. I was like, well, I kind of live out in the sticks, so there's not much phone reception out here, so good luck. And that's a bit weird that you can just connect to my bike whenever you want. But they couldn't do it. And then I said, well, I'm probably out of range, so cell range that is, so I'll drive to the nearest town and I'll sit there and give you a call or an email or a text or whatever, and you can connect to the bike. But they didn't want to do that. They said, oh, you got to bring it into the dealership. So I did that, which was a bit of a hike, but the bike made it. And yeah, they charged it up for me so I could ride home as well, so that was good. Another range test there. Got to keep moving because it's hot today, really hot, but it's fine with the vented jacket and a bit of airflow. So yeah, a few more hoops to jump through, had to send them loads of pictures the whole time. Luckily I'd kept, you know, because I'm documenting with the camera what I'm doing, I had a pretty good record of when the issue had happened, that kind of thing. They were pushing back, so saying, oh, have you got any evidence, etc, etc, it's outside of warranty. You know, it was just, can we have pictures of the battery, can we have pictures of the charger, can we have pictures of the bike with the battery, without the battery, can you bring the battery in, can you bring the charger in, can you bring the bike in? You know, I was expecting this stuff, but yeah, man, it just dragged on, you know. Got this bike so I want to have fun, but you know, I try to be honest, and part of that is principles and holding myself to those, but also other people, especially companies, man. Like, you more than happy to take my money with a smile when I'm buying the thing, but then when something goes wrong with it, it was like, yeah, treating me like I was a con artist or something. Anyway, let me try and stick to the facts. And I am going to pull over and look at my piece of paper. So yeah, this guy in China moved a few ones and zeros around and fixed the bike, and hey presto, I get a text message one day out of the blue after saying, you know, because they were really pushing back. I don't know how much power the dealership actually had. It seemed to be like Mojo, who is Surron's arm over here in Australia, they were kind of pushing back and saying it was my fault, or I don't know, insinuating or whatever. But yeah, at one point the dealership were kind of like saying to me, like, oh, I don't know if we're gonna get this fixed for you, like, we're sorry, you know, like, it's just one of those things that happens with batteries, they lose capacity over time. And I was pretty bummed out by it, you know. I don't have that issue on my gas bike, the tank's not gonna shrink overnight. Anyway, so this dude fixes the bike. I get a text message out of the blue one Friday Evo and one Friday Arvo saying, your bike is ready to collect, it's fixed, it's 100%. Oh, okay, cool. Like, what happened? Oh, we don't know. Yeah, okay, yeah, but what happened? Oh, they didn't tell us, we can't tell you, we don't know. It's like, okay. And I only found out the info I just told you a minute ago, because when I went in to get the bike, I kind of had a chat with them, and yeah, I think they were a bit more open in person as opposed to on email, where everything these days is kind of legally binding. Anyway, you know, that really held me back, because I was right in the middle of doing a run of videos of this bike and its capabilities and that kind of thing. Yes, it was all on road, but it was all on road because I bought this bike because I wanted to use it on road. And I was also comparing it with my KTM 390 Duke naked bike, and that's kind of the thing, right? you know, if they're selling these, not KTM, Surron, if they're selling these saying that they are a real quote-unquote motorcycle and they're selling it through a dealer network, well, then I'm going to look at them like that and I'm going to hold them to that, because if you take KTM, for example, my local KTM dealership where I got my KTM, they're selling real motorcycles and they're a real dealership, and when you walk in there, like the bike I was buying was right down the bottom of their range, and the ones up the top were crazy enduro bikes and stuff, and dirt bikes and yeah, Super Dukes and stuff like that. Whereas when I went to the Surron dealership, this was pretty much the flagship bike that they were selling at the time, and yeah, the other ones were glorified mountain bikes, you know, so maybe that's the difference right there. But still, yeah, it held me back because I had stuff I wanted to do, and you can check out those videos. And yeah, I've got videos coming up. If you're eagle-eyed, you may have noticed that this bike is a bit dusty now because I took it off-road for the first time the other day, so I've finally been able to continue with the videos. I did continue to shoot videos and stuff, but it was, you know, it was a bit of a bummer, and there was a point where I'd go to get my keys and I'd reach for the keys of the Duke because I was just a bit bummed out. And I think that's fair enough, because yeah, I had this issue, I didn't know if it was going to get fixed. Yes, you can mod these bikes, everyone gets them to mod them and stuff, but you know, it's expensive to mod them. And also, like, yes, at some point maybe I'll mod this. I'm interested to see what it can do stock, because yeah, okay, you can mod anything to make it better, but this is a pretty capable machine stock. And you know, if I was going to do mods, probably the first thing I'd do is change the front wheel to a 21 inch, because it's a 19 at the moment, that's what it came with. And yes, because this is the road edition of the 2024 Surron Ultra Bee. It has an 18 inch rear tire, but for some reason they still don't seem to ship it with a 21 inch front. If I'm wrong about that, let me know in the comments. So yeah, the first mod I would do would be change the front wheel to a 21 inch, maybe change the rear sprocket, maybe not. But I would then probably next upgrade the controller, because the stock motor and battery are pretty decent and they're expensive, right? That's kind of those bits, the controller, the motor and the battery, that's pretty much the bike, right? Yeah, this bike's got some nice, I mean, the concept of this bike in my mind, or the way I saw it, was that this was, Surron had real success with the Light Bee, right? And everyone thought it was a great bike, but everyone was just modding it. Just mod to the max, right? And what are we doing here? And everyone was modding those. So it seemed like Surron thought, okay, well, they tried the Storm Bee, which was huge, as in big and heavy and powerful and stuff, but that didn't seem to do too well. So it was almost like they decided, right, we're gonna basically make an in-between of those two. And it was kind of like almost advertised as a Surron Light Bee, but with all the upgrades to it, so you didn't have to. And that's kind of what caught my eye, and I think that's cool. But maybe people have tons of cash to splash and that kind of thing. Maybe for them, upgrades is the way to go. But yeah, I see these videos and it looks sick when people detail the bike so it looks different, and they upgrade the battery and the controller and the motor, you know, you name it, they upgrade it, right? But all of that stuff's expensive. Even the 21 inch wheel upgrade that I want to do, that's like $800. Are you serious? So like, yeah, my neighbor who's been into bikes since he was a nipper, he was saying to me, just keep doing what you're doing, like just roll in stock. What is that? That is a baby red belly black snake having a bad day. So yeah, he was like, just keep rolling in stock, like to keep doing what you're doing, keep pushing the stock form. Because yeah, 800 bucks, that's a lot of money. Anyway, that's kind of the point. I'm rambling, right? Basically, I want to see what this bike can do in stock form. And yes, I could have just, if time was an issue for me and I didn't want to jump through all their hoops and that kind of thing, yeah, I could have just gone out, or I could have just gone online or gone out and just purchased a new bigger better battery. Yeah, for sure, you know, but I don't have that kind of money to splash. And like I said earlier, it's the principle of the thing, right? I'll have to do another full speed range test to see if we still get the range that I was getting before, just out of interest. So these bikes are pretty new, as I've said, and Surron is pretty new as a company, so maybe it's not fair to compare a company like Surron to a company like KTM, because KTM's been around for a long time. Yeah, it's changed forms and that kind of thing, and some would argue it's not even the same as it originally was. Maybe it isn't, but anyway, the point is that there's a history there. But Surron are the ones who set this whole thing going with the electric bikes, really. So yeah, and I think, like I said earlier, I think if it had been within the warranty period, they probably would have just done something very quick. They probably would have just given me a fresh battery straight away, I reckon, but who knows? That's in another dimension somewhere. And, you know, Stark Future with their Stark Bug, they've been really pushing the whole electric bike scene forward of late. But at the time when I bought this, the Stark Bug that was available then wasn't road legal. You couldn't register it, you couldn't get rego, you couldn't ride it on the road legally. And the cops here are pretty ferocious when it comes to electric dirt bikes. So I did not want to risk that one. And to be fair, like Stark Future and Surron, they do seem to do the right thing. They do seem to do the right thing by people when it's in warranty, from what I've seen online. And they did by me as well, to be fair. They did. They fixed the bike and it's back up to 100%. And that means now, happy days, I can jump back into my runner videos of the KTM 390 Duke versus the Surron Ultra Bee R, and I can also keep pushing forward with taking this thing off-road, because that's where this thing comes alive, is off-road. That's kind of what it's meant for. But the whole point for me is I wanted to be able to ride from home to the trails. Anyway, I really hope you don't have issues with whatever bike you have, be it electric or gas powered or whatever. Yeah.
If you're looking to get into riding, I got plenty of videos, plenty of stories as well. So yeah, check those out. If you got this far and you think it was valuable, you enjoyed it, maybe smash the like button or hit subscribe or whatever. Help the channel grow a bit. Until next time, ride smart, ride safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.